Walaupun satu evidence pun boleh. Yang kita dah bincang last week tu kan, apa case Long bin Samad tu, criminal. Okay, itu dia. And exception, we're going to discuss about exception this week. Exception means one evidence is not enough lah. You must bring a lot. Okay. So we have managed to discuss a little bit about exception matter of law and exception matter of practice last week. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 area which required for you to bring a lot of evidence. One evidence is not enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 area. Okay. So we're going to analyze one by one today. And this is side issue. So we going previous statement is not about we can bring corroboration to prove previous statement, but we use previous statement as a corroboration. Itu issue. That's why I put it under heading of side issue lah. Side issue. Okay. So we need to discuss this one by one. So as I mentioned last week, kita ada case apa tu? Aziz Muhammad Din against PP 1996 5 MLJ 473. So kita ada corroboration as a matter of law. We have a corroboration required as a matter of practice. Okay. You need to know the difference lah. You tak tahu difference, susah hidup you. Okay. Matter of law is what? Corroboration required. Matter of law means corroboration bukti sokongan yang dituntut oleh undang-undang lah. Means that is mentioned in the statute. You have no choice. Okay. Whether you like it or not, you must bring extra evidence to support that case. Because it's mentioned by the statute. Okay. Okay. It's matter of law required by the law. Another one is a matter of practice. Matter of practice means it's not required by law, it's not mentioned statute, by decided cases. Not only in Malaysia, but all over the world required some sort of corroboration. Okay, so this is a difference between matter of law, matter of practice. Okay, walaupun matter of law, matter of practice ke apa ke, selalunya the court will require corroboration lah. Macam matter of practice or prudent, walaupun tak mandatory, but normally 95% of cases the court will require for you to bring some extra evidence, corroboration evidence to support it. Okay, it's not a must to bring extra evidence for matter of practice, but most of the cases 90% of the cases the court will require extra evidence to be given. Okay, walaupun tak ada corroboration, the court must put in the note of proceeding, dia punya nota judgement ada, the court must be cautioned lah about admitting the evidence you have. Okay, even though there is no corroboration, the court must be cautioned. And the word caution must appear in the note of proceeding. Kataan caution tu. Caution bahasa Melayu berhati-hati. Okay, mesti ada. Kalau dia tak tulis perkataan caution or any word synonym with caution, risk ke, warning ke, be alert ke, the judge also erred in law. Okay, salah. The other party can make appeal kalau the court fail to put the word caution, warning, risk, okay, for the corroboration as matter of practice. Okay. Kalau matter of law ni memang no choice lah, kena corroborate juga lah. Whether you like or not. Okay, you can ask question kalau you tak faham ke apa, you just unmute aja dekat slide ni tu, kat depan tu. Tekan unmute, ask a question je. Okay, siapa yang ada gangguan problem ke apa, kalau tak dapat soalan, boleh type ya dekat kat borang conversation tu, type aja. Nanti I try to entertain lah. Okay, what are the requirement needed for corroboration evidence? Okay, so apa requirement ya? You can, okay, sebelum you want to corroborate, okay, bring corroboration. Apa syarat-syarat dia? Ini syarat-syarat dia. Evidence must be relevant and admissible. Okay, so the evidence you have now and the evidence you're going to bring to corroborate, both must be relevant lah. Last semester, section 5. Evidence must be relevant to your case. Not relevant, no point. Okay. Number 2, the evidence in question must be credible and strong. Okay. The evidence you have before you have to bring corroboration, the evidence you have, okay, must be strong. Okay. Most important point, this one. Corroboration is not to support weak evidence. Corroboration is to support strong evidence. Okay, jangan silap, jangan salah faham. Kenapa kita perlu bukti sokongan? Corroboration is to support strong evidence, not to support weak evidence. Okay, some of you are very smart, ask question. We have a strong evidence. Kenapa perlu corroborate pula? Dah ada strong evidence, cukup lah. Apa betul? Tapi the answer is because the nature of the case and the nature of the witness required 2 strong evidence. 1 strong evidence tak cukup. The nature of the case, the nature of witness. Okay, nature of case, nature of witness yang tadi, yang 7 area tu. Apa yang tadi tu? Unsworn, seditious, sexual offence. Because of that special case, 2 strong evidence is required. More lah, more than 1. Okay. So The idea of corroboration is to support strong evidence, not to support weak evidence. For example, like apa? Macam tadi yang the children testimony tu. Okay, make sure the testimony given by the children is strong lah, credible, reliable. Kalau very suspicious, then no need to waste time to bring corroboration evidence, because the evidence given is very weak, suspicious. Okay, you don't have a case. Okay, so the evidence in question first must be strong and credible before you bring corroboration. Kena faham? Okay. So the corroboration evidence must be independent. The third requirement. So you nak pakai bukti sokongan yang satu. Kalau boleh cari bukti sokongan yang tak ada conflict of interest lah. Macam saksi kanak-kanak tadi kan, dia testify kan. So kita nak corroborate apa? Takkan nak panggil mak dia kot. So mak dia mesti sokong dia. Okay. So lebih baik cari bukti sokongan yang lain selain pada mak dia untuk menyokong keterangan kanak-kanak tu. Siapa? Anything lah. Can be document, can be circumstantial, can be CCTV. Kalau kes kanak-kanak, selalu yang paling popular bukti sokongan psychologist, counselor, pakar kanak-kanak. Pakar kanak-kanak dipanggil di mahkamah untuk sokong saksi kanak-kanak tu. Itu dia yang paling popular lah kalau saksi kanak-kanak. Macam kes-kes seksual. Okay, kita nak, okay, witness datang, testify. Saya diganggu sexually. Okay, saya diganggu sexually. So, kita tak boleh rely 100% on testimony of witness. Kita kena panggil extra evidence to support the testimony of witness. Okay, tapi kalau testimony of the witness is very doubtful, mula-mula cakap dia diganggu pada pukul 8 malam, tiba-tiba okay. Okay, mula-mula dalam tengok polis report pula dia kata diganggu pada pukul 8 pagi. Okay, testimony dalam court 8 malam. Okay, polis report dia tulis itu 8 pagi. So, reject lah. Okay, not strong evidence, tak perlu corroborate. Okay. At the end of the day, corroboration evidence and the evidence in your place must implicate the accused lah. There's logic and common sense. Yang ini sama kot dengan yang relevan ni. Tapi tak tahu kenapa dia pecahkan. Tak apa. Okay. I got it from article. Okay. Corroboration, must remember. Ini paling penting sekali. Okay. Auni ada, Auni. Okay. Auni ada, sihat?
Yes, sir.
Dia dengar Auni ya? Dia dengar Auni ya?
Boleh, sir.
Macam mana bisnes okay?
Alhamdulillah, boleh lah. Okay.
Dapat bantuan kerajaan, bisnes?
Nak ada ke, sir?
Cuba cek, mesti adanya. Untuk bisnes-bisnes individu macam you, mesti dapatnya.
Oh, okay. Nanti saya cek.
Cek apa? Bantuan prihatin dengan penjana tu.
Dari sir pun boleh juga.
Bisa kan? You bukan OKU kan? Kat FSU OKU siapa? Oh, siapa tu? Hadi final year kan? I think dia dapat ada allocation. So kena remind dia lah. Okay lah, dia dapat. Student dapat kan RM200 tak salah student dapat.
Dapat yang hari tu.
Dapat juga duit. Okay. Okay.
Cukup.
Syukur. Okay. So remember Auni, Riaz and everybody, okay. Corroboration evidence only allowed to be used to support strong evidence, not to support weak evidence. Kalau evidence you have weak, tak payah penat lelah corroborate. Okay. Reject everything. Okay. You don't have case. Okay, why we need to support strong evidence? As I said, because the nature of the case, because the nature of witness which required so. Okay, saksi kanak-kanak, saksi accomplice, saksi gangguan kes-kes seksual. Dalam kes-kes akta hasutan, because of that, suspicious. Nanti kita bincang one by one. Apa yang suspicious ni? Okay, memang suspicious pun. Okay. What are types of evidence that can be used as a corroboration evidence? Okay, kita nak pakai bukti apa? It can be anything lah. You refer to the case of R against Hills, 1988. Okay, criminal law report, criminal appeal report, page 26 ni. It is worth noting that corroboration was not limited direct evidence. Okay. Of the independent witness. It was frequently provided by a combination of pieces of circumstantial evidence which together tended to show that the defendants committed the crime. So it can be even a circumstantial evidence. Okay. So you can support with other. So we go one by one. So far ada apa soalan? Anybody would like to ask any question? So we are now going one by one of the case yang required corroboration. Ada apa soalan? Anybody would like to ask question? Nasib baik tak hujan kat KL. Kalau hujan,
okay, sir.
Semua okey ya?
Okay, sir.
Okay, that's good. Best lah hujan pada petang. Cantik cuaca. KL.
Belum lagi.
Ha? Sama lah sama. Hai, itulah dia. Online, no? Online teaching. Okay. Okay, we go one by one.
Sir, kenapa tak nampak sir?
Hmm?
Mana
Apa
mana
dia?
sir?
Ada kat
Sir
sini.
tak on.
Ada ni melambai-lambai.
Kenapa I tak nampak?
Ada dengan topi I ni.
Oh, ya ke?
Ha. Komputer you kot. Komputer you.
Mungkin lah, jap saya check.
Ha. Komputer you. Tak apalah, yang penting suara I ada. Suara I ada. Okay. Unsworn evidence of a child, keterangan kanak-kanak yang tidak bersumpah. So unsworn maksudnya tidak bersumpah. Unsworn. U-N-S-W-O-R-N. Unsworn, bukan sworn. S-W-A-N. Unsworn. Itu angsa. Okay. Ini unsworn yang tidak bersumpah. So kanak-kanak datang ke mahkamah, dia tak angkat sumpah, dia bagi testimoni saja. Okay. So kanak-kanak boleh datang mahkamah lah. Tapi tengok dulu dia nak bagi bersumpah ataupun tidak bersumpah. So yang first is tak bersumpah. Okay. So refer kepada section 118, read together with 133 capital A. Okay. 118 talk about who can be a witness. So 188 said that anybody can be a witness. There's no age requirement tau untuk siapa-siapa bagi jadi witness. Asalkan orang tu boleh datang ke mahkamah, boleh faham soalan, okay, boleh bagi jawapan, cukup lah. Okay, itu dia. Itu syarat dia. So kanak-kanak pun boleh bagi opinion kepada boleh datang ke mahkamah dan bagi testimoni lah, no harm. Okay, there's no age limit macam mengundi. Okay, so 118 okay, anybody can come as a witness in court. But if a kanak-kanak come to the court, kita ada section 133 capital A ni. Okay, so hakim dia akan conduct some sort of preliminary inquiry kat sini. Tak salah dia tulis ni proceeding preliminary inquiry to know whether the child should give take oath or without oath before give testimony. So nanti hakim akan buat satu siasatan dalaman lah before the child testify in court. Nak tahu child tu faham tak effect of taking oath or not. Kalau dia tak faham effect of taking oath, okay, then unsworn testimony lah. Kalau dia faham, then sworn testimony. Okay, kalau dia tak faham, dia masih boleh testify, okay, tapi under unsworn testimony Okay, under section 133 capital A is provide that where evidence admitted by virtue of this section is given on behalf of the prosecution, the accused shall not be liable to be convicted of the offence unless the evidence given by the child is corroborated by some other material evidence in support. Okay, okay. So kalau saksi kanak-kanak tu dia bagi testimoni tanpa angkat sumpah, kita tak boleh terima saksi kanak-kanak tu bulat-bulat dan hantar orang tu ke hukum gantung sampai mati, tak boleh. Kita kena ada bukti sokongan untuk menyokong keterangan yang diberikan oleh kanak-kanak yang tak angkat sumpah ni. Itu dah mention bawah statute. Itu sebab dia matter of law. It's mentioned by the statute. Whether you like it or not, you must follow. Kalau tidak, you salah dari sisi undang-undang. Okay. Dia banyak case bab ni. Leading case would be Siddiq bin Ludan against PP 1995. Okay, this is a case. It said that the proviso yang provided itu, section 133A state that a conviction cannot stand on the uncorroborated evidence of an unsworn evidence of a child. So it means that the evidence cannot be admitted lah if the evidence standard by a child, okay, without being corroborated, okay, with other evidence. You corroborate lah dengan apa-apa evidence pun, asalkan kena corroborate. It's mentioned in the 133A yang proviso itu. Okay, you can refer case of Yusaini bin Mat Adam as well against PP 2001 CLJ page 206. Okay, so section 133A make it obligation for the trial court, for the judge to have this inquiry as I said just now. Siasatan dalaman. Okay, sebelum child tu bagi testimony, nanti court akan tanya soalan lah, judge akan tanya soalan. Awak faham tak apa itu sumpah? Awak faham tak kalau cakap bohong apa akan berlaku? Kalau dia tak faham, okay, then dia boleh bagi testimoni tanpa angkat sumpah lah. Kalau dia faham, dia boleh terus bagi testimoni dengan angkat sumpah. Angkat sumpah dulu, lepas tu testimoni. Okay, so apa jenis soalan-soalan yang selalunya hakim tanya untuk tahu dia ni faham angkat sumpah atau tidak? You boleh refer kepada dua kes ni. Muharram bin Anson against PP 1991 and the case of R against Hayes 1977. Selalunya soalan-soalan yang berunsur religion lah. Macam apa soalan-soalan kafar lah. Okay. Kafar, perkara asas fardu ain. Okay, itu dia. Okay, kalau berkata bohong, okay, apa akan berlaku pada engkau? Masuk syurga ataupun neraka? Kalau dia kata, budak kanak tu berkata bohong, masuk syurga. Maknanya dia tak faham lah tu. So, tak perlu bagi sworn testimony lah, bagi unsworn cukup. Okay. Itu dia. So, dia bagi sworn, unsworn, then after that, they testify. Okay. Tapi kalau kanak-kanak tu tak faham sworn and unsworn and tak tahu bagi testimoni pun no point juga. So, tak payahlah pakai evidence tu, reject terus. Okay, carilah orang lain untuk bagi testimoni. Dia kena faham, okay, okay, bukan saja testimony tapi about angkat sumpah tu, tapi about how to give testimony as well. Two area. Okay. Kenapa kita perlu extra evidence, corroboration evidence to support children testimony? Kenapa? 5 Azhar. Lianna, you refer kepada kes Chow Chong, Lu Chen Huat, Tan Kayau. Ini I think you dah belajar dulu dengan Raja Razif. Di Shanmugan, okay, it's mentioned that because the child cannot differentiate between fantasy and reality. Dia tak dapat bezakan antara fantasi dengan reality. Kanak-kanak. Tak kira lah bijak mana pun diorang ni, okay, berapa banyak A dia dapat, SPM whatsoever. Kanak-kanak, selalunya kanak-kanak lah, dia tak dapat bezakan antara apa yang in reality, apa itu fantasi. Kanak-kanak tu siapa? You refer balik kepada section 2, Akta Kanak-Kanak 2001 lah. Kanak-kanak tu maksud dia mereka yang di bawah usia 18 tahun. 18. I think you all semua dah lebih 18 kan? Ada yang mengaku diri dia 18 ke bawah. Okay. Tak ada kan? Okay. Tu ada. So dia cannot, ada siapa yang mengaku 18 bawah? Maknanya tak dapat beza lah antara reality dan fantasi. Itu dia. So dia kanak-kanak, maksudnya kat Malaysia 18 tahun ke bawah kalau itu ikut Akta Kanak-Kanak 2001. Okay. Okay, we finish unsworn evidence of a child. Okay, so for the case of unsworn kena corroboration. Satu lagi case sedition cases. Case hasutan. Okay. Yang ini pun mention about statute. Okay, you kena corroborate juga because refer kepada akta hasutan. Section 6 tu. Okay, dah mention dah. Okay, kalau you nak charge person-person untuk akta hasutan, sedition, you tak boleh rely on testimony of one witness saja or one piece of evidence. You must corroborate. Okay, no person shall be convicted of the offence without corroboration evidence. Banyak case ni, especially involving politician lah. The leading case would be Lim Guan Eng lah. Okay, itu Lim Guan Eng against TP 1998 So kena ada corroboration lah, extra evidence. Okay, so kalau dah ada saksi datang ke mahkamah, okay, we must have extra evidence to support this saksi punya testimony. Okay, anything lah, you can support with document ke, tape recorder ke, circumstantial evidence ke, whatsoever it is. Kena require. It's mentioned by the statute, matter of law, wajib. Okay. Whether you like it or not, kena corroborate. Okay. Satu lagi apa, entries of book account. You refer kepada section 34 Evidence Act. Section 34 said that if you submit a book of account, buku account, you tak nak submit that book of account terus saja. You kena ada corroboration evidence so, supporting. Panggil lah accountant ke, testify ke, siapa-siapa je lah. Okay, to support. It's mentioned in 34, so wajib. Okay, you refer kepada case Sim Seok Eng and another. Okay. So we finish corroboration as matter of law. Now we move into corroboration as matter of practice. Okay. Tadi matter of law evidence. For matter of practice, sworn evidence. Okay, itu beza dia. Sworn masuk sworn. Okay. SWORN bukan sworn. SWAN itu answer. Okay. Jangan silap eja. Ada yang silap eja. Final exam. Sworn SWORN. Okay, keterangan kanak-kanak bersumpah yang tadi tu, kalau yang tahu angkat sumpah tu maknanya dia boleh bagi testimoni selepas angkat sumpah lah. Okay, tapi walaupun dia sumpah ke tak angkat sumpah, okay, sama juga, okay, kena corroborate. Okay, cuma beza dia yang tadi tu matter of law, yang ni matter of practice. So tak wajib lah, terpulang lah tengok. Kalau convincing tak perlu corroboration, okay. Tapi selalunya 99.9% the court will require corroborations lah. All over the world, bukan saja Malaysia. Okay, you refer kepada case R against Campbell 1956, 2 Queen Bench 432 The sworn evidence of a child need not as a matter of law be corroborated, but a jury should warn. A jury means judge lah. Okay, not that they must find corroboration, but there is a risk acting in uncorroborated evidence. Okay, walaupun tak nak corroborate because it's matter of practice, tapi the jury, the judge must put dalam nota proceeding dia tu perkataan caution, berhati-hati, danger. Any word lah, beside caution ke, danger ke, risk ke, warn myself ke, I need to be careful ke, to indicate that there's a danger, okay, of accepting testimony of this witness without corroboration. Kalau tak nak buat corroboration, okay, dia kena tulis dalam nota proceeding tu, okay. Macam ni kan, the judge Lord Goddard ni, Lord Goddard dia tulis perkataan I warn, so dah ada lah, so selamat. Apa efek dia kalau tak ada perkataan warn tu, sir? Okay, ataupun perkataan yang sinonim dengan warn. Efek dia is that, dia macam matter of law tadi, kalau dia gagal tulis, pihak lagi satu yang kalah tu boleh appeal. Okay, on appeal level, the court review that, kalau tak ada perkataan-perkataan macam ni, court can quash the decision of the lower court. Okay, kalau dia gagal untuk bagi warning kat diri dia sendiri, hakim tu, bukan lawyer, hakim. Okay, itu dia. Itu beza dia. Satu lagi, evidence of an accomplice, keterangan rakan-rakan sejenayah. So pernah tengok cerita ni tak? 6 Jahanam. Auni pernah tengok cerita ni, Auni? Auni pernah tengok? Tak pernah. Aduh. 6 Jahanam. Mana Auni? Senyap terus. Syahir pernah tengok Syahir? Syahir pernah tengok?
Yes sir, yes.
Pernah tengok cerita Jahanam? Syahir pernah tengok cerita ni, Syahir? 6 Jahanam.
6 Jahanam pernah sir, tapi lupa.
Oh, lupa Ashraf pernah tengok Ashraf? Ashraf pernah tengok Ashraf? 6 Jahanam.
Pernah, tapi lupa juga sir.
Lupa?
Pernah tengok tapi lupa dah sir.
6 Jahanam Okey, tengok balik lah lepas. Okey, 6 Jahanam Kalau 6 Jahanam, kalau 4 apa? 4 selonggok.
Fadil.
4 selonggok. Kalau 3 serangkai. 2 sejoli. Okay. So evidence of an accomplice. Kalau accomplice datang ke mahkamah, dia nak testify dia punya kawan-kawan dia tu, mestilah doubtful kan, sebab kawan dia. Okay, itu sebab kena ada bukti sokongan. Okay. Itulah dia, kena ada bukti sokongan. Okay. That's the logic of corroboration. So when talk about accomplice ni, accomplice testify, kalau dia testify against dia bukan rakan-rakan dia, tak apa. Masalah isu kalau dia testify against dia punya geng-geng, itu isu dia. Okay, you refer kepada section 114, read together with 133. Yang tadi unsworn evidence of a child tadi tu 133 capital A. This one is 133 saja, tak ada capital A. Okay. So 133 said that an accomplice shall be competent witness against an accused person. Okay, and against the accused person, and a conviction is not illegal merely because it proceed upon the uncorroborated testimony of an accomplice. Maksud dia, you can accomplice can testify, give testimony against dia punya rakan-rakan sejenayah dia lah. Tak perlu bukti corroboration, tak perlu bukti sokongan. Tapi 114 illustration B said that an accomplice is unworthy of credit or witness unless it is corroborated. Okay, 114 illustration B of evidence X pula kata kita perlu bukti sokongan. Okay, 133 kata tak perlu, 114 kata perlu. So dia dah macam konflik. So that's why, okay, they don't regard this evidence of an accomplice as a matter of law lah. Only a matter of practice saja. Okay, to reconcile 133 and 114 illustration B. Okay, you can refer this point from the case of Daud bin Awangah, okay, against PP 1958. Okay, it was stated that there is no rule of law which demand that in every case where an accused person give evidence which tend to incriminate a accused, the jury should be warned that it is dangerous to convict upon such evidence unless it's corroborated. Whether or not such warning should be given to the jury is not a matter of law. Okay, it is matter to be decided in light of the circumstances of each of the individual case. Maknanya matter of practice lah, bukan law. Okay, terus pulanglah pada hakim untuk pakai corroboration atau tidak. Okay. This accomplice rule only apply in the case where the accomplice is a prosecution witness. Okay, it is an important point. Please remember. Okay, it does not apply to defense witness. Okay, Daud bin Awangah against PP. Okay, and the case of Davis against DBP. Okay, you must remember this. This only apply for prosecution witness. Does not apply to defense. Okay, kalau defense tak perlu corroborations lah. Matter of practice. Tapi kalau prosecution perlu as a matter of practice. Okay. And then the next would be visual identification evidence. Yang ni kita dah belajar last semester dah. So please open back you punya notes last semester evidence one. Okay, yang section 9 tu kan. Ingat tak kes decision given by Allahyarham Datuk Faizal Tan Bicik. Okay. In dealing with the evidence of visual identification, the court has to remind itself of the special need of caution. Caution. See, even Datuk Faiza also put the word caution dalam nota proceeding dia. Okay, before convicting the accused in reliance of the correctness of the identification. Ini kes apa ni? PP against Chan Chun Kiong. Okay, 1989 to MLJ. Last semester dah bincang dah kes ni. Okay, so maknanya betul dia. Okay, kena berhati-hati caution before accepting the testimony of this individual based on identification. Okay, matter or practice. Okay, you refer also the case of R against Turnbull, the Turnbull guideline last semester, right? Okay, we need to have some extra evidence to support. Okay, those who give testimony based on identification ataupun CCTV ke apa ke, okay, because eyes always play a trick. Okay. Lagu apa tu? Lagu Nur Komalasari tu kan? Okay, mata memandang. Okay, hope you still recall. Okay. Selain daripada itu, kita ada sexual offences cases. Case sexual. Okay. When you talk about sexual cases, okay, it's not only rape. Banyak case sexual ni. Okay, so rape is the highest form of sexual offence lah. Okay, kita ada beside that molestation, kita ada indecency, kita ada harassment, kita ada sodomy. Okay. Itu dia. Semua kes-kes ni kita perlu apa? Corroboration. Okay. Extra evidence. Kenapa kita perlu corroboration? Dalam kes-kes sexual harassment? Because of course allegation is easy to make but very difficult to substantiate lah, to prove, to support. Okay. And it affect the reputation of the accused very severely. Even though okay you don't have a strong evidence, the fact that you bring such allegation, it will tarnish his name forever. Not only his name, his family name. Okay, because sexual offence is a very hideous crime compared to other kind of crimes. It's the highest form of, okay, it's the hideous crime, I can say. Okay, you can refer to several cases. PP against Emran. Emran, bukan Imran. Emran. Okay. Bin Nasir, 1987, one MLJ. He said that, I warn myself that on the charge of rape, it is dangerous to convict on the evidence of the complainant alone, since experience has shown that female complainant have told false story for various reasons. Okay. So dalam kes-kes apa sexual offence ke, dia kata it's not safe on to rely on testimony of the victim alone because according to this judge, not me, according to Robert, okay, CJ, experience has shown that female complainant has told false story, okay, for no reason, okay, for various reason, okay, so dah sebab bangsa-bangsa ni, especially kaum wanita selalu fabricate story selalu, okay, sometimes they like to create story according to his experience. So wanita-wanita, kenapa anda suka create false story? Anybody want to support, mempertahankan? Okay, kenapa create story? Not only in this case dalam case sebelah ni pun sama je, okay, in England, okay. This view was also found in the case of R against Henry, R against Manning, 1968. Salman LJ said, it is really dangerous to convict on the evidence of the woman or girl alone. Why? This is dangerous because human experience has shown that in this court, girls and women do sometimes tell an entirely false story, which is very easy to fabricate. Oh wow. Okay. Suka fabricate story Okay, but extremely difficult to rebut. Such story are fabricated for all sort of reason. Okay, which I need not to enumerate, and sometimes for no reason at all. Okay. Itu sebab kena ada bukti sokongan. Sebab kadang-kadang orang perempuan dia suka reka-reka story. Kadang-kadang tak ada sebab langsung pun. Dia mengaku diri dia kena ganggu, kena rogol ke apa ke. Kenapa? Anybody, ada siapa-siapa kaum wanita nak ribat kat sini ke?
Tak semua macam tu.
Tak semua macam tu? Ya ke? Kenapa? Ini judge cakap tau, bukan I. Semua judge cakap. Itu sebab dia kena ada bukti sokongan. Okay. Because experience by the judge said that banyak sangat ni kaum-kaum wanita dia fabricate story. Ya, Alia nak cakap apa ke?
Buat just lelaki.
Alia, ada apa cakap?
Tak.
Tak ada. Yang nak mempertahankan tadi. Aduh. So susah nak cakap ni kaum wanita je faham tak tahu kenapa you all suka create story. Kenapa? Auni kenapa suka create story? Betul ke? Suka create story? Eliana, betul ke? Create story? Betul Oh, mengaku.
Perempuan yang pelik-pelik je.
Yang pelik-pelik. Habis you pelik ke?
Kita orang normal.
Duh. Aduh, sedih. Sedih. Bahaya itulah. Bahaya itulah sensitif kadang-kadang terpandang mata pun dia ingat kita rogol dia. Asal pandang-pandang saya? Oh, nak rogol saya. Hamzah betul ke Hamzah? Kes ni. Hamzah ada
Hamzah on the way.
on the way. Azman ada, Azman
Dulu
ada.
ajak.
Azman,
Zaman sokong perempuan.
ha? Betul ke ni? Women like to fabricate story?
Tahu lah saya.
Tak tahu Susah nak cakap
Saya cakap betul lah tu.
Sir, tu zaman 60-an sir.
Zaman 60-an So perempuan zaman 60-an lain dengan tahun 2020 Aduh. Okay, is this the reason lah? Okay, for further reference, you can refer to my textbook on sexual harassment at the workplace, current law journal publication. You can refer, ada kat library kot. Tapi, okay, tak payah jauh, library negara pun. Okay, online lah, minta online. This corroboration is not only for women. Corroboration, this sexual offence ni can happen to anybody. Guys even, untuk lelaki pun kalau dia ada gangguan seksual pun apa ke dia kena corroborate juga Okay, itu dia. Okay, not only the victim women, the victim men also you require corroboration. Not only men but also transgender ke apa ke, okay, kena ada corroboration evidence lah. Okay. Itu dia. So it's applied to all cases, okay, regardless the victim. Okay, last point for corroboration evidence. Last point apa point dia? Previous statement ni. Okay, yang ini bukan you bawa evidence, corroboration evidence to support pernyataan dulu, but the issue is you use previous statement as a corroboration evidence. Itu dia. Don't get confused bukan bawa bukti sokongan untuk sokong previous statement ni. Kita bawa previous statement ni sebagai bukti sokongan. Okay. Side issue you refer kepada section 157. Okay. So basically 157 allow you to use any previous statement, oral or written, to support, to use as a corroboration evidence. It's mentioned in the statute, so no harm. Nobody can deny your rights. Okay, selama ada oral ataupun written, apa-apalah previous statement yang selalu paling popular sekali, you punya buat police report tu. Itu you punya statement kan, previous statement. Okay. So kalau ditakdirkan you pergi mahkamah bagi testimony, the court require corroboration, so boleh pakai lah ini sebagai corroboration evidence. Okay. Tapi ada isu sikit ni. Okay, sama ada kita boleh pakai section 157 ni as a corroboration evidence. Can we consider as a corroboration evidence? Itu isu dia. Kenapa isu? Because ingat tak tadi requirement of corroboration. Ni I highlight ni. Corroboration evidence must be independent. Okay, kalau you pakai you punya previous statement to support your statement, tak nampak pelik ke? Okay. Okay, so it must be independent. Okay, janganlah you pakai you punya statement untuk support you punya statement nampak macam kelakar, macam ada banyak sangat konflik kat situ. Okay, it's not fair. Okay, tapi dah 157 kata boleh lah. Who are we to argue the statute? That's the issue. Okay, because of this kan, dia ada 3 school of thought. Okay, among judges. Biasalah judges pun dia ada sekolah-sekolah dia pula. Okay, the first school of thought, okay, dalam mahkamah kat Malaysia ni, dia kata section 157 is considered as corroboration evidence. Okay, this list of cases Ko, Sun Po, Teo, Eng Chan, Lim Baba case, okay, is considered 157 as corroboration evidence. Okay, because it mentioned that 157 the word corroboration, right? So it's corroboration. So apa nak argue lagi? Okay, second school of thought mengatakan 157 cannot be considered as corroboration walaupun mention corroboration. Because why? Evidence must be independent. You cannot use your own word to support your word. Okay, nampak bunyi kelakar. Okay. So banyak kes juga. Karti Yayani, okay, the case of Aziz Muhammad Din, again the case of PP against Parners Selvan. Okay. And the last school of thought, okay, yang ini yang prevail one lah. Okay. 157 is corroboration evidence, tapi dia punya value is to show consistency of your statement. Sama tak previous statement dengan statement yang you cakap dekat mahkamah sekarang? Itu saja. The value is to show consistency. So whatever it is corroboration evidence, tapi value is to show consistency. Okay. You refer kepada case of Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Morgan anak lelaki Perumal, okay, banyak lagi. Okay, you refer lah. Okay, so this is the prevail view lah. Okay, the last view ni. With that, alhamdulillah we finished the third chapter. Simple. Dah pukul berapa dah? Hampir pukul 4. Okay. So next week kita bincang estoppel. Ada apa-apa soalan?
Sir,
Ha.
boleh tak seulang balik bahagian the corroboration evidence must be independent?
Evidence must be independent. Okay. Evidence must be independent means that the evidence you have in place and the evidence you use to as a corroboration must be independent. Okay, as far as possible, it must not be so connected each other lah. Macam tadi testimony of a child tu, kita nak kena corroborate kan, sama ada sworn ke unsworn ke, matter of law, mathematics kena corroborate. Kita nak corroborate dengan apa? So kalau boleh janganlah corroborate dengan relative dia, mak dia ke, adik-beradik dia ke. So itu tak independent, maknanya ada konflik kat situ. Okay, so kalau boleh corroborate dengan benda lain, dokumen ke, CCTV ke, ataupun apa kaunselor ke, ataupun pakar kanak-kanak punya expert opinion section 45 ke, itu masuk independent. Dia tak ada kena-mengena dengan evidence you have in place tu. Okay, so kalau macam case previous statement tadi tu, okay, you bagi testimony in court, you nak corroborate, okay, you nak guna you punya previous statement, you punya testimony to corroborate your testimony now in court. Boleh ke tak? Okay, in logic, okay, cannot lah. Tapi 157 permit it, so permit lah. Itu maksud evidence must be independent. Okay, maksudnya tak ada kena-mengena dengan evidence you have in place. Okay, there's no conflict of interest lah. Boleh faham ke Faizah?
Boleh, sir.
Okay, any more question? Tanya je. Don't be shy. Ada apa-apa? Riaz, are you okay? Nak tanya soalan, Riaz?
Sir.
Yes, Hamzah.
Kalau FIR, First Information Report,
Ha?
dia boleh jadi corroboration ataupun dia boleh jadi evidence asal sendiri.
Dua-dua boleh.
Dua-dua boleh.
Tengok apa tujuan you.
Okey.
Itu dia. Any more question?
Sir,
Siapa tu?
so saya nak penjelasan.
Okay.
Kan dekat sworn evidence of child, evidence of accomplice dengan identification kan, judge tu kata suruh bagi warn for himself. Kan?
Betul Amir.
Dan ada konflik juga tadi saya kata. So
Okay.
adakah maksud kenapa dia perlu bagi warn to himself? Adakah maksud dia boleh terima juga kalau tak corroborate?
Dia kena warn himself because case tu is very dangerous case. The witness is very dangerous witness. Tu dia kena bagi warn himself because the rule is that Amir, whole over the world the rule is required for the court to give caution of himself. Okay, berhati-hati pada diri dia sendiri. Okay, sama ada dia perlu corroboration atau tidak is a next issue lah, terpulang pada hakim. Selalunya dia corroborate lah. Tapi kalau in case of tak ada corroboration ke, ada corroboration tapi dia kena tulis dalam nota proceeding dulu lah. Perkataan caution tu kena ada. Okay, to show that dia tahu case ni is a very dangerous case because the nature of the case is a very suspicious, very dangerous punya case and the witness involved is a very dangerous type of witness. Itu reason dia, itu logik dia ambil. Itu logik. Dia kena ada caution tu. Ini bukan kes-kes biasa-biasa. Ini kes is very macam it's a suspect witness, it's a very grey area of cases macam sexual offence, accomplice, okay? Itu dia. Itu sebab, itu logik dia tu. Kena bagi caution himself tu.
Okay, sir.
Boleh Amir?
Boleh, sir. Jelas, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any more question? No. Auni okay, Auni?
Sir,
siapa tu?
yang accomplice tu kenapa dia only apply to defense witness?
Tak, dia apply kepada prosecution je. Defense tak pakai. Dia pakai dekat prosecution because biasalah kita nak sebab memang beban pembuktian untuk prosecution dalam kes-kes jenayah ni very tinggi. So evidence submitted kena high quality punya evidence. Tak boleh tainted dengan, tak boleh spoil dengan apa-apa doubt. Itu sebab dia required extra evidence. Itu jawapan dia. Okay.
Okay.
Any more question?
Sir,
You.
nak tanya pasal section 157 tu.
157, okay.
Kan previous statement kan ada 3 mazhab tu kan. Apa beza
betul.
corroboration evidence dengan consistency? Sebabnya corroboration evidence pun still menunjukkan benda yang konsisten kepada fakta.
Okay.
Faham tak soalan dia?
Apa soalan dia?
Soalan dia corroboration evidence tu dia still menunjukkan konsistensi. So apa beza dia dengan dengan yang mazhab yang last kali tu?
Oh, mazhab tu. Apa beza beza dia, okay, macam first mazhab ni, dia consider as a corroboration evidence, okay. Corroboration evidence, Lokman, maknanya dia bukan show consistency. The value is very high, more than consistency. Okay, okay. Maknanya dia consider as a very, okay, it's beyond consistency. Second mazhab dia kata yang ni tak boleh pakai, bukan kata consistent lah, bukan corroboration at all. Okay, okay. Yang third ni, because dia dah mention the word, because they use the word consistency. Okay, corroboration is a corroboration evidence, tapi the value is only to show consistency lah, untuk menunjukkan pada tak ada percanggahan, okay, fakta antara testimony orang tu bagi dengan previous statement yang dia buat tu. Itu je, nak tunjuk value dia, in terms of value je. So yang the first school of thought ni, Lokman, don't get confused. The first school of thought ni, corroboration evidence, is higher lah. Okay, it's more than consistency. Dia nak cakap, okay, you cannot use it to show consistency. It can be used as a corroboration evidence per se. Okay, to support evidence. It's a strong evidence. Okay, yang second school of thought ni is not as corroboration evidence at all. It is something else. Okay, yang third school is considered as a corroboration evidence, but the value is only to show consistency je. Okay, so don't get confused, Lokman. Yang ini corroboration evidence per se, first school. Second school is not a corroboration evidence. Third school is a corroboration evidence, but value tahap dia setakat to show consistency je, Lokman. Itu beza antara first, second and third school of thought. And the previous one will be, Lokman, will be this one lah, yang the last school of thought ni, consistency ni. Okay, Lokman? Lokman, boleh dengar?
Okay, faham.
Okay. Okay. Any more question? Reminder, jangan lupa take home test kita nanti 14 Julai 14 Julai bukan Jun. Okay. Julai, okay. So topik setakat today je, corroboration evidence. So I bagi you 1 week lah to prepare and to complete. Okay. Soalan apa tak fikir simple kot. Okay. It's an open book test lah, don't worry. Assignment jangan lupa 15 markah 21 Julai submission, so boleh try buat sekarang. Okay. Nanti nak hantar macam mana, sir? Nanti saya bincang dengan ketua kelas lah, Syauqi lah. Nanti saya in charge Syauqi ketua kelas untuk arrange to collect you punya KLB untuk assignment. Online tak payah print. And don't forget to come up for our virtual tutorial as well for this week and next week. Okay, itu dia. And this will be the next tutorial question for next week punya. Okay. Okay, thank you. Ada apa-apa soalan lagi? Dah pukul 4 tepat. Semua okey ke? Yes.
Saya nak tanya.
Okey, tanya.
Let's say betul lah dalam satu kes dia bunuh. Budak tu dia saksikan masih ada umur dalam 16 kan. Contoh 16 bawah 18.
Okey.
Tapi kes tu kes tu buka lepas dia dah 18 tahun ke atas. Tu dia dipanggil untuk jadi saksi.
Okey.
Adakah dia dipanggil sebagai saksi yang sebagai anak atau sebagai ikut umur dia tu sekarang?
Oh, okey. Okey, kejadian berlaku bawah umur. Panggil di mahkamah atas umur. Dia bergantung pada soalan hakim. Kalau soalan tu berkaitan berlaku masa bawah umur, so di consider bawah umur. Kalau soalan tu berlaku berkaitan masa lepas umur, so di consider atas umur. Dapat tak, Alia?
Dapat. Faham.
Okey. Any more question? Ada soalan lagi? Panjang juga kita main third record ni 1 jam lebih. Okay, semua dah okay kot. Ada 47 orang kat sini ya. Okay, so okay, full attendance. Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay lah, I think everybody okay. Kita jumpa tutorial nantilah untuk hari Khamis ni So sila kita datang pukul 11, 12, lepas lagi satu pukul 2, 3. Okay. So tak ada soalan, I think that's all lah. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, boleh prepare untuk asar Pukul 4 lah. Okay. Okay, okay, thank you semua.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for coming. Okay, good luck. Okay, stay safe.
Stay safe, sir.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.